Half-Shell Oyster House offers award-winning cuisine and service. Named TripAdvisor Best Top 10 Small Chains in the United States. Voted Best Seafood in Mississippi Magazine 8 times. You can enjoy award-winning oysters and seafood, delicious steaks, pastas, sandwiches, salads, and so much more in a unique, polished, casual dining experience. Half-Shell Oyster House is located at 115 Laurel Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi 39232. Or you can give them a call at 769-257-7586. And hey, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Hey, y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Says Sports. Please welcome back co-host of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab and play-by-play announcer for Prairie View University, Mr. Charles Bishop. What's up, Bish? How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Sonia? It's great to be back and back talking a little bit more football.
Absolutely. It has become my favorite season. Basketball has always been my favorite sport, but I'm falling in love more and more each season with football.
And each time I come on, I also have to wave back there to Jane. So.
Hey, Jane, say hey, girl, hey. Well, hey, boy. No. So, Charles, let's get right into it. This past weekend, there was a lot of HBCU homecomings, and JSU was one of them. 2 SWAC teams won their homecoming, Mississippi Valley State and Southern. 3 SWAC teams lost. Grambling University, Bethune-Cookman, and our beloved JSU. Yeah, JSU played Alabama State Hornets and had a devastating loss to the Hornets 24-19. Charles, we had quite a few issues, and on Saturday, it seems like we're regressing. Can you talk about a little bit what happened or what you think might have happened and what's going on and what we need to do?
Well, I don't know if regress, I would say regress, but I know what has been a bugaboo all this past season has been special teams. And they've had some devastating injuries with regards to the kicking game. And I think it finally reared its ugly head this past weekend. Alabama State was able to get a couple of touchdowns really off of short fields. And Coach Taylor, he mentioned it in the post-game presser, how, basically his punter, Matt Noel, is giving him everything he has, but he's playing in pain. And, it's one of those situations where you don't anticipate injuries in the kicking game until there are injuries in the kicking game. And that has just been a bugaboo for Jackson State all this past year. They have great fortune. They found young man Dylan Watson.
Who's great now.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job in kicking field goals. But like I said, it was the punting game that really hurt them. Mm-hmm. Short fields, and it created opportunities, I think, for Alabama State. And I think another thing that Jackson State would definitely lament is the fact that they had the turnovers that they had. And the turnovers kind of created a slow start. They fought their way back into the game. But like I said, short field to end the game. And Alabama State was able to, take advantage of it. So it's a tough deal. Mm-hmm. Especially for homecoming.
Yeah, it was tough. So of course, we have to talk about them because they're an intricate part of the JSU culture. The JSU fans are, they're on a buzz. They want TC fired. They want the OC fired. They want Jason Brown out of town on the first thing smoking. Did we forget that we lost 60 players this past season? Did we forget that we have pretty much all new coaching staff? Why can't our fans give people time? I mean, what is up with that?
Fan is of course short for fanatic. And the same way you praise fandom when it is positive, you sort of kind of look kind of crossways, when it's going in a different direction. But I mean, that's one thing that every coach who comes to Jackson State, they know about the Jackson State fan base. They know that, they expect winning in a certain manner. They expect championships, and that's the fan base. There's nothing you can do about that. Yeah.
And TC knows that because TC was a player at Jackson State. TC
Sure.
also was on the coaching staff with Coach Prime, so he knows how we are. So I'm sure he's dealing with it the best way he can. Hopefully he has tough skin. I'm sure he does because he knows how we are.
Well, you better have tough skin when you're dealing with Jackson State's fan.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, because
Yeah.
as a whole, we don't give any. We got to have grace. We have to let the man cook. He's putting the recipe together. He's putting the ingredients in. Give him time to do what he needs to do. It's just like what, 8 games that he's been
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So
yeah, we're 7 games into his tenure, 4-3 thus far. So dealing with fan base, fans are perfect when everything is going well, and they're the first to jump off the proverbial train when things aren't going well. But relax.
relax.
Allow things to take their natural course of order. And that was a tough loss this past weekend, and no doubt about that, especially homecoming, especially when you get a lot of alums coming back in, and this is their one opportunity to kind of watch Jackson State during the course of the year. So bitter taste in the mouth from this past week.
Bitter taste, especially because it was against Alabama State. It was a lot of hoopla last year, and we, beat them last year in their homecoming. I guess they got their look back, and they wanted to play us at homecoming, and so they were determined. And I think every team that comes in to play Jackson State, they have a different fire because we're back-to-back SWAC champions, so they want to knock us off anyway. So, but it is what it is. That's the nature of the beast. So,
Sure. I mean, that is what it is. So you're right about that.
Yeah. So Charles, I noticed that the offensive coordinator was running the same play Saturday, side to side and up the middle. Is this because Jason is more of a passing quarterback? And will limit our offense because of this?
Well, I think there's enough film with regards to what Jason Brown is good at and things that he's not good at. I think most coaches around this league, they want to take advantage of the things that you're not particularly good at. I think you see, and I've talked to a lot of coaches around the league, you starting to see more of a phenomena of forcing quarterbacks to be accurate, and they're doing that. They're doing that by dropping eight into pass coverage, and really trying to force quarterbacks to be as accurate as possible. And I think you see that kind of across the board for most teams, or you watch a lot of games, you start seeing, especially when you start playing behind the chains, you start getting penalties and anything third and some distance, you're starting to see them rush 3 and just drop guys into the pass pattern and, take their chances. And if quarterback is accurate, cuckoo. But if not, you get the fourth down or the third down stop. And I think, this is a copycat league, and you're starting to see a lot of defensive coordinators force quarterbacks to be as accurate as possible.
Gotcha. That's true. Herb Mulligan got hurt on Saturday in the third quarter. I'm hoping that it's not a bad injury, and I'm hoping that he's back in the game coming next week. Have you heard anything about him coming back next week? And if he does not, will his absence be a huge impact on JSU play?
Make no mistake, Herb Mulligan has been a force of nature for Jackson State this past season. You talk about the SWAC's leading rusher, so obviously it's going to have an impact if he's not out there on the field. I think one of the very interesting things about Jackson State, Herb Mulligan has been sort of the piece that everybody pays attention to, but it really has been running back by committee with Desmond Moultrie as well as Ahmad Miller. Both have been nice complementary pieces to Herb Mulligan's running style, which is a very hard running style, and one of those guys that you talk to a lot of former players. He reminds them of players of yesteryear, a running back who really falls forward when he's running. So yeah, it's going to have an impact. And I think even this past weekend, the trajectory of that game changed just knowing that was a chess piece that was off the board.
Yeah, you're right. That is true. So earlier this season, you were on the show and you mentioned that Alabama State would be the dark horse of the SWAC. They came into this game 2-3, and was this win showing that very thing that you said? Was this the dark horse moment, or coming in, and doing what they need to do?
One of the things that I think everybody has known about Alabama State is they play tremendous defense.
Mhm.
They probably, next to FAMU, have one of the toughest defenses in the SWAC. In fact, you look statistically, they're ranked second within a lot of categories. But it's a difficult team to move the ball up and down the field against. The thing that you sort of ask week to week with Alabama State is, will they get enough offense? And that starts with consistency at quarterback. And we saw opportunities this past week when Jackson State was playing them where the quarterback just was not as consistent. I think you see that across the league. That's one of the things you notice week to week, just the consistency of the quarterback play, or lack of consistency of the quarterback play within the conference. But it's a team that even last year you saw they're big and they have big corners, big physical corners. So just moving ball up and down the field is a bit of a chore. They've had some, quite honestly, some head scratching losses. I think the loss to Miles was one that you kind of scratch your head about. But the question, with regards to Alabama State is how much offense are they going to get week to week. Unfortunately, playing with a short field this past week, they had enough offense to thwart Jackson State for homecoming.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. I called you Saturday upset, and I didn't know what to do. But I mean,
yeah, you gotta take these games with a grain of salt. And what I've seen this past season is there's so much parity. Like the line between FAMU being the best in the East, or probably the best team in the SWAC, and everybody else is just right close there. And there's still a lot of football left to be played. I think FAMU is going to be in some dogfights down the stretch of this season, and along the way we might be scratching our head again, like, how did that happen? Because I think we still have a few of those games left to go in the season.
And for the people who don't know, Jackson State is completely out for the talks of being in the playoffs, correct?
Well, it's I'll say it this way: with more games left to be played, because I think anything can happen, of course, but it's definitely going to be an uphill climb with 2 losses now in the SWAC East.
Yeah. So you're saying, look, FAMU would possibly have to lose 2 to 3 games for Jackson State to get back.
Effectively, they have probably a 3-game lead on Jackson State, because obviously they on the tiebreaker, but they have wins over Alabama State. Jackson State has a loss to Alabama State. So I think going down the stretch, FAMU only has maybe Alabama A&M left to go in the SWAC East, and Bethune-Cookman.
Okay. Well, as each week we have to move on, because we got to put that in our rear view mirror and move on, because we play Mississippi Valley State at Valley in Itta Bena, Mississippi on Saturday. As I mentioned, Valley won their homecoming. They won against UAPB 42-17. What adjustments does JSU need to make in order to not have a 2-week losing streak?
It always helps to not turn the ball over. I think that was a big thing you just take a look at the 3 turnovers, and it really took away momentum that I think Jackson State was having, especially the turnover going into the red zone this past weekend. But Valley, despite their record, is a team that actually has quite a bit of talent on the team.
Yeah.
And I started the quarterback, a young man by the name of Tajarian Williams, and you are sort of watching his maturation from week to week. I think this past week he threw for the most amount of yards that he's thrown for thus far as a freshman. Threw for 265 yards and 3 touchdowns. But I was able to watch him against Prairie View, and I was able to watch this Valley team up close. And this is a team that year one of Coach Wade's tenure at Mississippi Valley. He just needs to build up the depth. Because he has some talent in quite a few positions. And like I said, it starts at the quarterback position, a young man who's a freshman, who's a big kid. He's 6'4", 240 pounds. So think in the mold of someone built like a Dante Culpepper. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to work to bring him down. And he has tremendous arm strength. He can really wing the ball out there. So Jackson State, it's not a weekend that they can take off. Of course, we talk about it week to week. Valley is a team that just plays you with a lot of attitude, play with a chip on their shoulder. And they always play Jackson State with an extreme chip on their shoulder. That game means a lot, not only to the Valley, but to the Delta community. When they take on Jackson State. So I'm sure, Itabena will be buzzing this weekend for Jackson State coming to town. I remember when we went up there a couple of years ago, Coach Prime's initial visit up there at Itabena, and the place was packed out. So I expect no less this weekend with the Jackson State Tigers coming to town.
I enjoyed, that was my first time going 2 years ago. I really enjoyed going to the campus. Nice stadium. It was really, really nice. They have a really nice tailgate. It's not as big as ours, but it's very family oriented, and I really enjoyed it. I must say. So my plan is to go there to support the Tigers and check them out.
It's a fan base that really is very proud of the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, and I remember as a child, in their heyday. The way they would pack Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium when Archie Cooley and Willie Todd and Jerry Rice, Joe Thomas, those guys, when they came to town, Carl Bynum, that was a special, special time with regards to Mississippi Valley State football, just the whirlwind that they provided. And, it's a proud program. It's a very proud program. So you have to be prepared. You have to be ready to go up there and take on a team that's going to fight you. They're going to fight you real hard.
Yep, that's true. So, Charles, we're going to move on to Texas, where, well, not your team, but Prairie View played Houston Christian on Saturday in Houston. Houston Christian crushed Prairie View 31-0. Wow. What happened with the Panthers? Could they not get a field goal? What was going on?
I think if you're a Prairie View fan, I think there's a lot of head scratching because out of conference games have been, for whatever reason, have been a bugaboo for the program. And I say this about Prairie View, it is a team with a lot of talent, but it's a frustrating team at times because we talk about it all the time, even during the broadcast. They have a tendency to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. They're an explosive team. They do have playmakers, and we've seen them go on the road and get a win at Alcorn. And I think Alcorn is one of those teams that's going to be right there in the thick of things as we go down the stretch. But they have playmakers definitely in the backfield when you talk about Ahmad Antoine, when you talk about Caleb Johnson, who transferred in from Mississippi Valley State. He ran for 2,000 yards at Valley. He's in the backfield. Have another explosive running back, Connor Wisham. And then you take a look at their wideouts. It's Trajan Spiller, it's Kobe Cavil. They have a lot of talent on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But they have a tendency, unfortunately, to kind of shoot themselves in the foot at times and inopportune times. Out of conference game against Abilene Christian in the red zone multiple times, and there were multiple turnovers. So they have been a bit of a head scratcher this past week. You almost just throw the film away because they really weren't able to get a lot done offensively. And again, I go back to one of those things that you're starting to see across college football. Houston Christian, basically, they dropped 8 into pass patterns and they forced Trayvon Conley to try to make some plays downfield. and there was just nothing open, to be quite honestly. It was
Uh,
from a schematic standpoint, it was a very well schemed game for Houston Christian, and they were a team that really runs the football very well. They're one of the top teams in the Southland Conference in terms of running the football, and they rushed for over 250 yards in that game.
yeah, wow, yeah. It was when I saw that score, I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. I was expecting a little battle, but it just didn't happen. So
He got away from him. He got away from him
yeah,
early. Yeah.
yeah, I see. So Prairie View goes to Tallahassee to play FAMU on Saturday, and as we mentioned, FAMU is number one in the East and is the team to beat this season. Can PV bounce back and knock off FAMU?
Well, yeah, they're open this weekend, so that game is on the 28th.
I'm sorry, the 28th. What is the 21st? So yeah, 20. I'm sorry. So they have a bye week to look at film and get it together.
Yeah, and I think that game has been elevated from ESPN Plus to ESPN U. So there will be more eyeballs on that game with regards to PB going to FAMU for their homecoming. But again, I think there's so much parity within this conference that you just can't automatically pencil in a W for a team that should be heavily favored, which is FAMU. Like I mentioned, I think the Panthers have quite a few weapons in the arsenal that can give FAMU some problems. But like I said, they have to do a little bit of soul searching, if you will, over the open weekend, and figure out what sort of team do they want to be going for. Because, like I said, I think the coaching staff has been a bit frustrated by the fact that it is a veteran ball club, that they do have weapons, but they've had inopportune turnovers. They have inopportune penalties. Even this past weekend, 10 penalties for 100 yards. So it's a bit of a head scratcher with regards to that football team.
Well, we shall see, and I will be watching Prairie View beat FAMU. That's all I got to say. Just beat them. I mean, do what y'all do, man.
Let's see if Prairie View holds up to their end. So
yeah, absolutely. And before we move on, I just want to mention Charles and I have a colleague, Carlos Brown. He is the host of Carlos Brown Show, and he is having some health issues, and I just wanted to shout him out. We love you, Carlos. Praying for you for things to turn around, and just God does what he needs to do, and he's a healer. So
yeah, I'm always super appreciative for Carlos, even though he's a Southern Jaguar.
Yes.
Carlos was one of those guys who gave me an opportunity to talk Jackson State football, talk Jackson State Southern in particular on his radio program. One of the first people to invite me on, and I was always very appreciative. So like you said, definitely tremendous prayers to Carlos, and he does a yeoman job week in, week out, not only talking Southern Jaguar football, but talking about the SWAC in general. So it comes from a labor of love with Carlos. So definitely all prayers go towards him.
Absolutely. We love you, Los, and I'll be checking on you soon. So, Charles, thank you, of course, for coming, but before you leave,
here we go.
We gotta play. You can get with this or you can get with that. And what that is a way for the listeners and myself to get to know the guest better. I'll ask you a few questions and you choose the one that best fits you. I kind of know a lot of these about you that, it's fun to see you.
Oh, that's horrible.
You squirm. Charles, would you rather be on a survival reality show or dating show?
Yeah, give me survival reality. I'll take that. I ain't going in the other direction.
I can so see you squirming on it. Would you rather have many good friends or one very best friend?
Good question. I think I'm a sociable person. I love, being around a lot of my friends. I got my ace, But yeah, I mean, yeah,
I know I'm your best friend, and you don't want to say that in front of Frank and all the others, FKP, in your line. But no, I'm just kidding.
I know people jockeying for best friend status. So.
I know. I mean, we're too old to be doing that. Best friend, best friend. But but hey, it's nice to have somebody in your corner.
No doubt.
Oh yeah, that's true. So you would rather have many good friends.
Sure.
Absolutely. Would you rather be the star player on a losing, I'll say base since you play baseball, on a losing baseball team, or ride the bench on a winning one?
I've always been one to be part of a winning team. I believe it's important that you find whatever your role is on that winning team. And sometimes if that role is, to come off the bench, it is what it is. But, being part of a winning team, that's an important thing with me. What purpose does it serve to be a star player on a losing team? I mean, you get the glory, but you get the loss.
I.e. Michael Jordan for quite a while when he first joined the Bulls, but we had to get him some help. Got him some help. So, yeah. I mean, and I get what you're saying. Yeah, I wouldn't want to just be a star player forever and nothing happens, but they have to, like Justin Field, they got to get the pieces around certain players that are star players so they can do what they need to do. And they definitely did that with Mike. Thank God, 6 rings later. Would you rather be a character? Would you rather be a character in an action-packed thriller or a romantic comedy?
Ooh, a rom-com.
A rom-com. I can see you in a rom-com.
Rom-com would probably be pretty cool. Yeah. That might be pretty cool.
I can see you like the sidekick to Kevin Hart. I'm just or somebody silly.
Making poignant observations all throughout the movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be.
That's me in real life. So.
I can see you on Hitch. I can see that.
Yeah.
Would you rather have your debt forgiven or have guaranteed good health for a decade?
Give me good health. There's nothing like good health.
Yeah. I mean, it's saying a decade, but I would rather have that. You can have all the money in the world, and if you're sick, it's no good.
Means nothing.
Would you rather be able to breathe underwater or fly through the air?
Fly through the air. There's nothing as freeing as flying through the air. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Would you rather take responsibility for losing the championship or have a teammate take credit for the win when you deserved it?
I've always been a responsibility person. I mean, I have no problems with taking the L. So a lot of people need to learn how to take an L. That's the issue.
I don't want to take an L on homecoming. I'm sorry.
You can explain an L. I mean, it happens.
And I agree. People need to take responsibility for losing and chalk it up as experience and learn from it. This world now, especially this new generation, a lot of them don't know how to take responsibility for a loss because they're giving them participation trophies and letting them know it's okay. Everybody's a winner. No, you're not. Everybody is not a winner. So
right. Correct.
I totally agree. Would you rather ensure overtime or risk losing and win in regulation?
Nah, I'm conservative. Let's play for overtime and let me win in overtime. Although I have seen it work both ways, and I've always applauded the person who had the cowboy in them to try to win it in regulation, but it's nowhere to hide if you try to get it in regulation and come up with the L when you could have played for another day. Yeah.
That's true. Would you rather get paid a lot to be on a bad team or paid below average to be on an elite team?
I like to be part of a winning team. I mean, as long as my value is not undervalued, yeah, I mean, I like being part of a winning combination, winning team.
Well, we see a lot of this these days. Would you rather stay on a below average team or join your rival and win a title?
Ah, ah,
Got a lot of
I've,
basketball.
I've never had an issue with what they call super teams throughout sports.
I cannot.
We have had super teams. There were, I mean, think about the Boston Celtics in the early '80s. They have 4 Hall of
Yeah,
Famers.
but they weren't
So-
switching teams. They weren't switching to go win a championship. That's the difference. They didn't do that. And but you know what? I guess it kind of goes with, how our parents, when we first graduated from high school, and I know my grandparents and my mom and dad was like, go to school, get you a good job. They want you to stay 30, 40 years on that job and then retire. That's how all the past basketball teams were. And now this new generation, and including us, most of us didn't stay on our job 30, 40 years. Well, your butt did, you retired. But, a few of us. But what I'm saying is, so a lot of people don't stay on traditional jobs anymore like that. So, I guess basketball has gone to the, of course, we know LeBron first started that.
It's the nature of sport. I mean, the nature of sport is it evolves, and thank God that professional sports unions have understood that there is value in movement. So I don't have an issue whatsoever. When you are looking at your value to a team, your contract situation. And if you have the ability to make a request for, why don't you guys move me and start over? So be it. This is the nature of sport nowadays.
Yeah, I'm still not a fan, but it is what it is. Whatever. So, well, Charles, as usual, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for joining me today. Can you please tell the listeners how they can follow you on social media and how they can listen to your show?
Yeah, no doubt. You can hear me on Dr. Phil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab every Tuesday, Thursday, and we do a recap of Saturday's games on Sunday mornings. But on all your social media devices, whether there's Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, you can catch me weekly with Tali Carr, where we recap the games weekly on Swag Digital. So those episodes normally come out every Thursday. So we take a look, we review the previous week, and we preview the upcoming week with Tali Carr from HBCU Game Day. So that's where you can find me. And then, of course, I broadcast with Prairie View, Panther Vision, where we broadcast the Prairie View A&M football games along with Charles Porter. So I'm a busy guy.
You are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And guys, you can follow me on Facebook, She Say Sports, Instagram, She Say Sports 23, and please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia with She Say Sports. Bye. You didn't say it.
Bye.